Hey, what up, everybody? I just wanted to quickly show you um, some of the things I've got to make with PLCs this year. I feel like I do this once a year, and I always feel like I'm just like bragging on myself or something. That's really not the intention. I'm just trying to be like, hey, look, this is something I like to do. Um, if you want to do something like this, holla. But here's the deal. Um, Stuff takes time. You know, big stuff takes a lot of time. Um, Creating materials that are going to, I don't know, take up a week of classwork or 2 weeks of classwork, that's really time consuming. And you all know as well as I do, there's not enough time to be a teacher anyway without swinging for the fences and trying to do something new or create something from scratch or all the stuff that just stands in the way from people doing some of the things they might like to do if they had all the time in the world. Now, I also don't have all the time in the world, but I have been taking on one project or activity, assignment, whatever it is, as long as it's cool, at a time, which has been totally workable for me. And at least on my end, all the experiences thus far have been really positive, and I really enjoyed the work. Here's the first one I did this year. This was a cool one for the humanities PLC. They wanted their students to study some world dances, and they had a nice big list. So I just sort of put it through the John filter. It just depends on what the assignment is and how far along the project is in the process, on how much it is that I do or don't do. For example, this part at the bottom, like this was a me edition. It was just like, oh, well, I want to make sure that they don't just click on the first one and do it. I want to make sure that they at least interact with a handful of them. So I put this in here. They were cool with it. Second slide. Let's see what you're looking at. Put your video in and get to describe it, answering some question and reflecting. Pretty chill, but a fun assignment. Like, I'm a grown man and I would enjoy sitting down and doing this one. That looks pretty sick too, if you ask me. Anyway, thanks to those two. Okay, this one's quite a bit bigger. This is a really good example of a teacher having like so much stuff. Like this was for biology, and she had so much stuff put together. There was so much to do, but there was so much there. Like, for example, I saw that she had like content slides to introduce the unit, and I personally wanted all of the materials to feel like they went together, so I just went through and rebuilt her content slides. All of the content you see on here, she already had on slides. I just pulled them over and then, did the thing that I do. This was time consuming, but I really enjoyed it. I always do. So this was the first part, and then this was cool. I love that she had this put together. It was starting off the unit with some group work to sort of learn a little bit about some different issues, and then to help the kids in an interesting way to find out which of these things they're interested in. On my end, not too labor intensive. She had a really great idea, so really easy to put together. Okay, and then this one sort of goes over, the project. Oh no, sorry. This is research. So now that you've chosen something, you need to go research it, and this just walks them through. This was really cool. So a lot of these things, they're as collaborative as they need to be. So like if I need more from someone, then I'm hollering at you, and if I can't connect the dots, then we'll get together. Sometimes I can figure it out and just make some choices, and I will if I can, because I'm trying to give you all a break. But we talked about the research, and I'm like, man, just go get the articles. Let's just get the articles, and then we'll organize them in some way that's interesting and helpful. I'm real big on kids staying inside the assignment whenever possible. So you can see here, these just link into all of the materials that they might need to use depending on which issue they choose. Some of them are YouTube videos, some are articles, some are just web pages that have like infographics and such. Really cool, really fun. I do have a feeling that this ended up being maybe a burden to try to pull off an NTI, but I still feel I still think it's really cool that she went for it, that they went for it. Okay, and then the actual product part. Choose a couple things, and then I do try to build in as much supports as I can and have time to do, depending on the schedule, to help give students everything they need to do the assignments on their own. Sometimes that's videos. Lately, I've been using a lot of GIFs to sort of show people how to get started and stuff. Rubric, some reflection. Okay, I don't have it up here, but I actually don't know how well the next part went, but try to put together some crazy system for the kids to interact with each other's work. I don't know. Using Google Forms. Even if it didn't, it was a fun challenge on my end. I kind of need to check up on that though. Anyway, this was so much work, and it came at a time when I had a lot of other stuff going on, and I got it done, and I feel real good about it. It was fun, and I liked getting to work with her. We had a really good time. So, okay, this is an example of a project where I didn't really do much of anything except rebuild it in a way that I would. Like, it was all there. Bounce some ideas back and forth about how to embed the instructional videos and stuff like that, and then I made the aesthetic decisions on what to do with it. Just tried to make it look like a really cool thing. And I think I did. But I can't take that much credit for the content. Now, this is a good example of what I will do. All of the steps of what they're supposed to do, all of the mechanical procedural stuff is typed up in there for them. Because, again, remove the barriers, remove the excuses, make it so that they have everything they could possibly need to do the thing. And this is one of those things. I do believe in that. For anybody interested in math projects, this is such a cool assignment. And I actually reached out and asked if I could rebuild it because I saw it so much last year with the seniors. And I was like, man, this is a cool one. And if you read through it, the completed ones, you can really see you can understand when kids get it. Just a totally sick little project. And I really appreciate the fact that they let me dig in and get to work on it. This was a cool one for my JCPS people. One of the teachers asked about what about just a backpack slide to help them deal with that. So yeah, just put together little descriptors of different kinds of artifacts, asked them to ask which ones they'd put this assignment in, and told them to go put it in their backpack. And then I'm real big on this, just building in rubrics. These you can just fill in, throw the grade in there, and any comments or whatever. Okay, love this one. A lot of fun. This is one that, was more of an idea, and it was a great idea, which is why I was like, yes, I'll do it. But there was a lot of technical challenges to imagining kids actually doing the thing that they wanted to do. So it was a lot of fun for me to problem solve and try to make it workable. Because on paper it was like, yeah, that'd be really cool. But then immediately it was like all I saw were barriers. that would keep kids from actually doing it, and also just from doing a good job on it. So I got to thank the freshman English teachers for hooking me up with this one and let me work on it. I used to teach this book too, so I have a giant space in my heart for it. So it's kind of fun to get to go back to it. Anyway, they wanted to do like a like a virtual classroom. I'm not calling it a Bitmoji classroom because there's no freaking Bitmojis in it, but how do you actually do that? And I figured out how to create a layout so they could just sort of pick a layout for the room. And it's real scaffolded. Like for the bed, for example, there's a folder that exists where they can just grab ones with transparent backgrounds, and then the same thing for a nightstand. But the whole time they're like doing the work that they're supposed to do as freshman English students. So by the end, they're having to go get their own images with transparent backgrounds and put those into their room. So it's like they're learning how to do the technology while doing the kind of work they're supposed to do as English students. And both of those things are ramping up as the project progresses. Okay, now it feels like I'm bragging on myself. I did really like making this one. I saw some examples of some student work that were fantastic, and I got all the good feelings about that. So selfishly, I guess I like to do this. I love to see the student work. I love to see when it goes well. And honestly, I like the feedback for what the challenges were too, because things can always be better, and I like that too. You can see here, same old, building in rubrics. Got to reuse this stuff for this project. Throw in an example. Their slide goes down here, and then just throw in a second part where the kids would put all of their bedrooms and then go interact with each other on a different slideshow. That took a little bit of time and a little bit of effort on all of our part to make that workable, but hopefully it did, because it was pretty neat. Okay, I hope it didn't feel like I was bragging on myself. I'm really not trying to. I mean, it's just putting stuff together. I just do like it, and I'm sending this out as a means to be like, hey, look, I can make time to do this for cool ideas. And as we're anticipating the second half of the year, now's the time. Like now would be a great time. It doesn't mean you can't ask later, but now would be a great time to be like, hey, here's this thing. It just depends on the idea, on how fleshed out it needs to be for me to be like, yeah, this is something I should work on. So there are no rules on what I do or don't need. But if you have something that feels big to you, it doesn't have to take a lot of time or anything like that. I just mean like it feels important and like it would be great for kids. I definitely am open to working on it with you. You just have to let me know what you're thinking. Also, if somewhere out there anyone has any big ideas for anything cross-curricular within your academies, I am totally game to get in on that action. Please, someone do that. Okay, that's my spiel. I hope this didn't take 15 minutes. I was hoping like 10 minutes or less. We'll see. All right, thanks everybody.